Welcome to Chok Muay Chats, episode 18. I'm Joe Comerford, commentator and content creator for the world of Muay Thai. If you like this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. You can find it on YouTube and Spotify. I am here with my special guest today for round 2 of our chats on Chok Muay Chats. Alfie Pearse, the UK phenom, Muay Khao superstar.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's all right, mate.
Bigging me up.
So, starting off, where can people find you online?
Instagram, Alfie Pearse, JD. Facebook, just Alfie Pearse, and they're like my biggest socials. I am doing TikTok a little bit now, though.
Oh.
Nothing special, but I'm just putting little bits on there, trying to keep growing, you know. But I've just started, so it's not big yet.
How important do you think social media is for fighters now?
I think it's massive now. Like this day and age, it's a huge part of it, especially back home. Like obviously for England, promoters, which you can see why, they want people that can sell tickets. You know, it is a business. Like you're not going to have someone having a massive fight that they've got to pay someone to come over, pay for this title. Everything costs money, so you've got to be able to sell tickets, to bring neutrals in, and for yourself. People moan about there's no money in Muay Thai, but if you grow your page and get yourself sponsors and stuff, then anything's possible. But you've got to put the work in. You can't just be really good, unfortunately, nowadays, because unless you're at like the top platforms that will promote yourself, like they will promote you basically. You need to do a bit yourself. I mean, I'm not great at it, but I do the most I can. Try to keep very active and let people know what's going on, that I'm training, what fights are popping up. But it's also important to post other stuff as well, you know, like people can relate to you. So yeah, it's very important nowadays.
Yeah, I was I had a podcast with Max McVicker's coach, Kieran, who's very good with that kind of the marketing side of things. And, you know, he was saying that now it's about controlling the attention. If you can control the attention, you'll get more and more opportunities. And I think that's, you know, true of a lot of fighters, especially like now you look at the evolution of Sordetchapan. Virtually like 2 years ago, it was a pretty underground gym. Yeah. And now the boss has been focusing on social media, and it's, you know, controlling the attention. Definitely. Especially in the Thai end of things. Yeah. You know, it's really interesting to see that more opportunities for the fighters and more and more opportunities for fighters, because before a lot of the guys were just fighting on the provincial shows, but now Channel 7 all the time. Pretty much all of them have at least fought on one championship once. Yeah. You know, so I think, it's quite important.
Yeah, they're doing well with that now. I think it's a really important, and it's a smart move for him to do so. It's a good investment in the gym, in himself, in the fighters, because I see it, obviously, while I'm there, people are coming and going all the time, loving it there. And he's keeping everyone updated, you know, like the Thai people, of course, but even back home, like when I'm in England, people are asking me about the gym. I get a lot of messages online about training here. So all the social media work they're doing is definitely paying off. It's a good idea. Because not all Thai gyms do it, do they? So
no.
You get a few that are big, but I think it's very clever and needs to be done.
Yeah, I think it needs like the West, over the last probably 5 or 6 years, you see a lot of gyms in the West actually have their own social media person. I mean, you would have seen Andy, my trainer from my gym, you know, he's got a dedicated person that he hires to control the social media. I think if Thai gyms did that here, then they would blow up and have many more members from the West coming over and training.
Because there's so many hidden gems out here that you don't know about, like. And if they were just putting themselves out there a little bit, people would love to come and train there. Like, people looking for these smaller gyms, you know, everyone likes to go check them out. And even if it's 1 or 2 people coming for a week, it's still worth it, and they go and tell people, you know, and then
that's it. That's that's an extra 3,000, 4,000 baht in their pockets in the gym, and that feeds that feeds the fighters for a month.
Yeah,
so I think the world of social media is important now, because now we live in an attention economy.
100%.
It's all about drawing attention yourself. Now, speaking about the kind of fight side of things, what have you got coming up? Because that's really what I wanted to talk to you about, is the next opportunity that's coming up now.
Yeah, so I'm back in Thailand now. This will be my first fight since coming back. Obviously had my fight in the UK while I was home for Christmas. I've come back now, got pretty much straight into training, had a little bit of time off, just getting used to being back here. But I had 2 weeks of training, and he wanted me to fight at Omnoy. So I fought there before, but this time it would be on it's a new show, the Kiat Pair cross with SKS, which I'm very excited about. Fighting a Thai that I've wanted to fight. I was meant to fight last year. He's a strong, aggressive Thai, which is perfect for me, I think. And yeah, it's exciting. I love that stadium. I love that traditional side of that stadium. They're just different, them little ones, where the only people really coming there are gamblers or pure enthusiasts. So I'm buzzing for that. I get excited just thinking about it. It's definitely one of my favourite stadiums, and where I had my first fight in Thailand. So I'm really excited to go back there. And I just want to prove to the boss of my gym, to the promoters and stuff, that I'm a good 5-round fighter, traditional style, because that is the style that I fell in love with, watching it, the top fighters of my generation, coming up, and that is what I want to be fighting. I love the bigger show, not the biggest shows, the entertainment shows. I think they're great, but I'd like to focus on 5-round Muay Thai this year, personally.
Yeah, I think they serve a purpose for drawing attention to the sport. And, before, when they started rising in real popularity, I was a very big advocate for them. And I still am, because they draw a lot of attention to our sport and, brings new fans in. But my heart will always be with stadium-style Muay Thai, the Channel 7s, the Muay Man Wan Suk or Palang Mai fights, Rang Sit.
You can't
beat
Air
Force Stadium, Omnoy. And, recently I've been commentating on the Omnoy fights, the same show that you're fighting on. So, it's good to see great, solid 5-round Muay Thai in action again, because it's been a long time since I've been able to get to one of those shows. So it's, it's good to hear, young guys that are into it as well, because at the moment it seems like everybody wants to fight on the big top 2. So it's great to hear that people want to do their time and focus on getting up in the more kind of classic stadiums.
So one thing I will say while we're on that subject is, another good thing about these bigger shows, the more popular entertainment shows, is I feel like they're pushing the Thais to fight even harder when they're in these 5-round stadiums. They're training harder. They've got purpose now. They want to prove themselves, because they want to be on these bigger these chances of getting these big bonuses and stuff. So even when they are fighting 5-round Muay Thai, they're going for it a bit more now, and they're all training again, and they're not just taking it easy, which I feel like. Not necessarily all of them, but you'd see on some shows they really were before some of these bigger shows come along, just some of them were getting a bit lazy. I'd watch fights and they'd only fight for 2 rounds, which I understand. I love the sport anyway. I would watch it if it was like that, no matter what. But now there's these, if you're doing well on here, you're going to get a shot and you can win 350,000 baht, that's massive money.
Yeah, I suppose that's the good thing about it now, is that it serves as an entry platform.
All the shows in Bangkok, around the country, their levels just gone up again now. Like I feel like everywhere.
The only thing that I would like to see change in stadium Muay Thai is rather than scoring the whole fight as a whole, is doing round by round scoring. And I'm not talking about open scoring, like showing the scoring on the screen.
Yeah.
Is how the WBC do professional Muay Thai in the West is they score each round as a whole. And I would like that to happen in stadium Muay Thai because it would make it a more complete fight. Instead of just round 1 and 2, just slow, and then round 5, just, like the last minute and a half dancing around.
Yeah.
I mean, I love stadium Muay Thai because it's calculated, but I think it would make whole of fights if each round was scored as a whole.
Yeah.
For the whole fight. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I think it would make people push harder throughout the whole thing. I still love the idea of them rounds being like money rounds sort of things. Like if it's closed, then you give that fighter a bit of an extra nudge because he's done really good in round 4.
Yeah.
Like if it's close, I mean, I'm not saying if he's lost all the 3 first rounds, then you got to give it to him because that's not what I mean. I just mean if it's like a draw in the first round, the other guy wins the second round, third round's really close, and he smashes the 4th round, but loses. You know what I mean? And they're just kind of giving them rounds just a bit more, like, what's the word for it? Just a bit more of an edge.
A bit more of a boost.
Yeah, without saying that just because he's won that round, then he's won the whole fight.
Yeah.
But I think if it's close, then it's nice to see them still giving that.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue with the open scoring thing for me is that, especially in 3-round Muay Thais, like say red corner wins 1 and 2, and then it really pushes blue to
force.
Full force, 110%, but it makes for a messy fight because all that's going to happen is red sits on the back foot and protects points, and it doesn't really give red any incentive to push forward.
Definitely. For
those entertainment shows where they want fighters to push forward.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think the open scoring makes sense for professional Muay Thai.
No.
I think it would be a good thing for amateur Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So fighters can see like where they are on the scoreboards, but professional Muay Thai doesn't make much sense.
I agree, yeah. I'm not a massive fan of it. I think like you say, if someone knows they've won them first 2, they're not going to risk. And Thais are so good at not getting like... Obviously, you see them getting hurt in the last round, but they're very good at protecting a win.
Yeah.
When they know they've won. Like
exactly.
They're very good at that. And I'd like it so they didn't know. And they have to... And that creates opportunities for a crazy... like a big shift in momentum and stuff and things like that. But I agree 100%. I'm not a massive fan of it. I think it'd be a shame if they was to make like all 5-round fights be open scoring or something like that. That would be upsetting to see.
But then again, it would probably force their hand to score
the fight by round by round.
Round by round, as opposed to, the criteria of 5 rounds as a whole, kind of thing. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. It's interesting to see because that's one of the recent controversies in the world of Muay Thai in Thailand.
Yeah, I saw they said like a lot of the shows now will be all day before weigh-ins, which I don't really like either. Like it's nicer, obviously you get that whole day, but I do like the fact of weighing in 6 a.m. fighting that night. I think that's quite cool. I think that's what separates the traditional one to this other side, and I think it's good to have that because when people come to Thailand they can watch both and it's completely different.
And I think it's important to have Muay Thai as an umbrella, but then you have different branches within that ecosystem because it gives it gives a place for the diehard fans, the quote unquote the gamblers, or even fighters who are into the traditional side of things to go and fight on those shows, and then the pure entertainment people to go to where they belong to, and it's not separating the community. It's just giving different places for different people to go. You know, it's like,
I love both. I think they're great to watch. You know, if I was to bring my friend to Bangkok and it was his first time, I'd probably take him to a Friday night One Lumpini show first, you know, because they are very exciting. But I would also like to take him to, which I have done, like when I've met friends out here, take them to took them to the Petchendi 5-round show, which they really enjoyed as well, because you see the people that are going crazy there, you know what it's like, which is it's nice. I think it's good that there's these like you say, the branches of different avenues and things like that.
You know, it's even like we look at. I was thinking about this the other day in the world of Muay Thai, like gear companies, right? You have different levels of gear companies. You know, you have like the big ones that have been around for years and years and years, and then you have like the new kind of smaller boutique ones that are sponsoring fighters more and more.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty hard to get a sponsorship with like, you know, the big ones like with Fairtex or like Twins or something. Yeah. But, you know, like a lot of the smaller boutique ones are starting to
pick guys up.
Yeah, pick guys up and stuff like that. And I mean, they have their place within the ecosystem, you know. And I think that's one thing about the community at the moment is there seems to be a lot of infighting at different levels of the industry, but I think we all need to kind of come together a little bit more and work about pushing the sport more globally instead of like nitpicking at little things. But I mean, any culture, any sport, that's going to happen. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. Oh, sorry. Now, your last fight in the UK.
Yeah.
There was a big build up to that. I was watching a lot of it on social media, and they had some pretty big names giving like their rundowns on what they thought was going to happen. How did that fight go? Did it go to plan? Did you do everything you wanted to do? Did you learn anything from it?
I mean, it went to plan. Obviously, I won. Played out sort of to how I thought it would. I mean, it was a great build-up. Like, it really had a lot of people divided, you know, in the UK, from the north and south of England. Like, everyone gave their input of what they thought. A lot of people sitting on the fence. I was very confident. Me and my coach. I mean, it kind of played out how we thought it would, but obviously it was going to be a dangerous fight. That's why people wanted to see it. We were in the UK. I mean, he's younger than me, and I'm young, so we're probably at that weight definitely the most active as of last year. Probably the most successful at like professional level around that weight. I mean, like 61 to 63, like young, say up and coming or like younger lads or whatever. And yeah, it was a good fight. It was in Liverpool, so where the lad was from. But I've fought in Liverpool 3 times now and always enjoyed it. I like the city. I think the people are good. They're lively. I knew it was going to be a lively crowd. Yeah, but they're a good laugh. Like they love a scrap.
Yeah, I've got plenty of Scouser friends. Not Muay Thai people, but yeah, they're a good laugh. The old Scousers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I learned any. It wasn't my best performance, but I'm very I criticise myself. Like I watch it back and I think, there's a lot more I could have done, you know. But I think it's a different fight, man. Like if you think about it, like it's a different criteria and it's a different crowd that you're fighting for as well. Yeah. As opposed to Thailand. Yeah. Like I mean, even if you were fighting at RWS, which you fought on twice before. Yeah. It's a different fight. You know what I mean? Like back in England, it's a totally different. It's a different ball game. Like there's different judges, there's different everything. People want to see different. Like the judges want to see different stuff. Different refs, which means. There's certain, it's all different. You know, it's be the same in Australia. I know they've got a lot more ties over there, but it is a different ball game. Like but it was enjoyable. I was happy to do it. I got to stay at home for a bit longer, like with my family and stuff, which was nice. And I think now nobody can argue, like, as for up and coming, that I feel like I'm the top, one of, or if not the top at my weight, like 61 in the UK. I mean, if the person that is number one wanted to challenge that, I'd happily oblige him, because I think I'd beat him. Just in case he does watch this, I doubt he will though. But he ripped me off completely. In
that doesn't say much about my podcast, does it?
I don't know,
for the UK
it'll
crowd.
Be me tagged it'll be me tagged in it. He probably won't, because he don't follow me or anything.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That's what I mean. But I would. He wrote me off completely for that last fight. It was actually really funny, because he said, this won't happen basically. Alfie will never be able to come to Liverpool and clinch this fighter up. And that's sort of exactly what happened. So
would you consider a rematch?
Definitely in the future. I mean, like I say, he's younger than me. He's only going to go on a rampage now and beat a lot of people. But it's not something I would consider right now. If I was to go back to England and stay for another fight, it'd have to be a very, very big one. I think I've proven myself now. If you look at the rankings in the UK, which are pretty decent, I've beaten 3 or 4 in my rankings and 1 in the rankings below, all below me now.
Yeah.
I think I've earned my right to say I've had enough of defending it against my spot, against people that are all the best up and coming people that are smashing it. You know, I've defended against, I've took a risk. Now it's my turn to fight who's at the top, who's above me. I think that's only fair, and that's how it should work.
So yeah, just interesting that you say that. Shifting it back to Kieran, who's Max McVicker's coach.
Yeah.
I did that reel last night where he was talking about it's important, if you're done at home, it's about getting out to the rest of the world and fighting in the rest of the world to really challenge yourself, because if you're not challenging yourself outside of your backyard, are you really being challenged?
Exactly.
Especially at somebody at your point of your career where you've done all that, you've proved yourself, you're at the top of the rankings in the UK. You know, now it's time to shift abroad, and I imagine the vision is to do it here in Thailand, get to the top here.
Exactly. That, I mean, literally talking about that, I think that was a big difference in the fight. You know, he'd fought a lot of people, but they were domestic. Some like European level, but not the people that I'd fought. I think after John, who stopped my win streak, I've gone on now. I think that's three fights, and I've won them all since now. 3, and then hopefully make it 4 next Saturday. So, but the difference in competition is a joke. Like, I could have easily stayed in the UK, fought a few times a year, won, been comfortable, but that's not what I want. You know, I want to fight these hard opponents. Like, my 2 fights on RWS were arguably, well, one was the hardest because he's the champion, and the other one I thought was an absolute top 10 like fighter. So
yeah.
I mean, I've had nothing but hard fights on that show. Obviously, I've done my best to work my way up in Thailand. I've done what needed to be done, like fighting wherever they've told me, whatever weight. I still do now. I don't argue. Like, this fight I got offered, I didn't argue. I didn't moan about it. Like, it's a bit heavier than I like to fight at, but I'm not worried about that at all. You know, I've come out here for experience, and if the boss of my gym wants to put me in for this big opportunity, then I'll take it. You know, no problem.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, no, I love that the drive to succeed here.
It's like investing in your own future. You know, like I'm gonna lose again. I'm not worried about that. Like, because when I reach my prime, I think I'll be a big force to be reckoned with. You know, I've got a lot of years to build up this experience.
Yeah, I mean, you're only, what, 21?
22.
Yeah, 22, like, mate.
I've got ages to and if I spend 5 more years in Thailand at least, that's going to be a scary thought for anyone, especially back home. But even out here by then, I think I've established myself. And and be fighting at a top level by then, I hope.
Yeah.
I am now, obviously, but I mean, like, just regularly be talked about a bit more and in the discussion of the top guys in the world, not in the UK, you know, that's always the dream. Yeah. In Thailand, mainly, I want to be known as a top foreigner.
And I think that'll just come with more fights and more experience.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. I think that the journey is going to be it'll be a long and arduous one, but it'll be
worth it in the end. That's all you learn from fighting. That's where I've got any experience from. I train really hard. I train as hard every time I fight, but if I was to have a year training, it's not going to be the same as if I had these fights with these top Thais or these top guys, you know. That's what gives you, and you find out about yourself when you're in a bad spot and you come back and you beat adversity and like the loss, it's never thrown me off. It's just added to my fuel, you know. I want to have that shot again. I want to keep going and earn it properly and fight these guys. They're only going to level me up. Even if you go do 5 rounds with a top level Thai and you get beaten, so what? If you try your best and you fight hard and you have good moments in that fight you can take away from it, then you're just working on things that you didn't do well.
Yeah.
I know I had good moments in my one loss so far. I think there was good parts of that fight for me. There was bad parts, there was a lot of things I could have done better, but that's what I'm working on now.
I mean, that's the amazing thing about this sport, you know, is you can always learn something new. Like even, you know, the other day at the gym when we were hitting pads with each other and then, you know, the other boys came over, just shift your weight more in your elbow, you know, fix it this way, kick more through the hip, you know, just drive it up instead of kicking straight.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I mean, there's 1,000 ways to kick. That's 100%. The thing. There's 1,000 ways to kick. There's no right or wrong way to kick or to elbow, but It is just little tweaks and differences that you can learn to improve in certain situations, you know.
You can learn from anyone. Exactly. I will take information from anyone. If I don't, in my head thinking I don't really think this will work for me, I'm still going to practice it and do it. Doesn't mean I'll use it in a fight, but whether you're a coach, a fighter, whatever you are, if you're involved in the sport and you've been around, most people have been around longer than me, so I'm going to listen to them. You know, like anything they're trying to help me with, then I'll do my best to add that into my game and do it. Like I said, if I don't think it will work for me, maybe I won't use it in a fight, but I'm still trying my best to just soak it all up while I can, you know, because I'll never be good enough to not learn from someone else. And like you say, there's 1,000 ways to do these different techniques. Like I've been taught to block like this, like back home, and then Thai trainers will tell me something else and this and that. But at the end of the day, you just say, "Yep, all right." You take it in. Like I love a laugh and a joke in the gym. You know what I'm like. I think that's important for a good atmosphere. I think you'll burn out too quick if you're not enjoying it. Yeah. But you still take it seriously, and I'm still taking everything on board that I'm being told. Just because I'm laughing or I'm joking doesn't mean I'm not taking it all in. Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing about choosing gyms in Thailand is, you know, choosing a place with a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys and gals will come over here looking for the Rocky Balboa experience, but that's not always going to be the best place for them.
No.
So, number one, especially if they can't speak Thai.
Yeah.
Number two, especially if it's their first trip. Number three, if they're an amateur fighter and they don't have the experience, they haven't got, you know, the resilience.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people say, you're born with heart, you can't teach it. No, I think that's bullshit. I think it just comes through experience and being put in through the hard yards.
Yeah.
But guys who have had like 5-6 fights, I don't think, you know, like one of those old school gyms like Tor Sanctionoy, for example, would be the place for them.
No.
It's going to be more beneficial for a professional fighter, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe a Phuket gym would be a better place.
You've got to ease into it. Like, I came straight to Bangkok, went to a fighter's gym, and I got through it. Like, I'd done it. I lived there, and that was my first experience. And luckily I managed to keep pushing through it, and I'd had a couple fights in England, but I did jump in at the deep end, and I was okay with it. But it's so hard, like it is so hard.
Yeah.
I was talking to Javi about this the other day. Like Thailand is so hard. You might train as hard back home, but it's the every day you're grinding down towards the end of the week.
Volume, man.
The volume is a joke. It is. It really is. And that's why if I can help someone who's out here, not even just from my country, like someone younger than me, or I will always try to help them. I might not be able to message you back, tell you how much it's going to cost you to come here, like things like that. But if you're around me or you're asking for advice that I can help with, then I'm more than happy to do that.
That's, I'm the same.
Because people have done that for me.
Yeah.
So many people.
I'm the same, man, and it doesn't just extend to Muay Thai. Like at a lot of expats, in the teaching world, it's no secret that I'm a teacher in the day. People ask me like, oh, how do I get a condo? How do I get do this, do that, do that? Like when I first arrived here, I have two very close friends who made a bet, and if they're listening to this, you, they know who they are. One person I still work with in the Muay Thai scene, and my trainer.
So that's one of them.
Yeah. So they made a bet on how long it would be until I left Thailand.
Oh, so not if you would last, just how long?
Yeah. They didn't even believe I would last.
No.
They were making a bet whether it'd be a month or 3 months on how long it would take me to leave here. And I had one friend who helped me get this condo, but that was it. Everything else I had to do on my own. And I've always believed in helping others because it is really hard to do stuff on your own here.
Definitely.
And that's why I think, there's a lot of guys like Matt Lucas who have written a guide on, training in Thailand. There's a couple of other like Instagram, not influencers, but people who have written guides on training in Thailand. I think it's worth for young fighters going and seeking out those PDF guides and reading them.
Definitely taking that time before, because
people have put in years. Like Matt has been here, I don't know, 10 years or something. Has 8 years of experience in the Muay Thai industry and written that PDF or that book for people. Yeah. Buy it, it's definitely $30 or 20 quid. That saves you all the mistakes that he's made or other people have made, and it gives you a quick track to just doing shit that's easy.
Yeah, I feel like I was sort of lucky where my coach from England, Andy, he'd been here before. Like he came out with me, like to make sure I was settled in and stuff. And where he'd done it at, I think even younger than me, but a similar age, he could relate to me and stuff. I talk with him a lot. I've got a very good support back home, not just like my sponsors, my family, like everyone does their bit and helps me, which is amazing. I knew some people out here, and like I had the help around. I would always ask people, and people were so kind to give me advice to help me out. So if I can give some of that back to anyone, I mean, I've only been here, after this year, maybe 2 years, like on and off, with the time I spent, and that's nothing compared to some of the guys here. So
yeah, that's it.
If you can, like you say, things like that are worth getting to read and if you're deciding to come here. But like we said, just remember it is very hard at these Bangkok gyms if you want to come here, and at the other gyms as well. But I mean, these fighters gyms are very like hard.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to say
there's
it.
no real other word for it because you have to experience it for yourself. There's nothing like training at the peak of a Bangkok summer under a tin roof. At 40 degree humidity.
It's a killer.
It's, it's just obscene. And that's why, people ask me, oh, what are you thinking about going back to fighting? I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah.
I'm 33, man. I just got married. I don't need to put myself through that. I don't need to prove myself to anybody because I know I've done it.
Yeah, but the nice thing is you've got this, so your passion. Still, that's why I love like when we talk, because it's not a pod. When you're not grilling me with questions, we're just having a chat like we always do. But there's a camera here, and it's nice because I know how passionate you are because you come to the gym. You do all this stuff not for money, not for self-gain, because you want to give back to the sport, which is, I love that. Like, that's why I like coming and talking and things like that. So everyone's got a way of and even your stuff is going to help people that are coming out here, you know. So
and that's the whole purpose behind this project, was to, you know, take what experience other people had, you know, and all aspects of the industry. You know, I've had the boss of RWS on, I've had, you know, obviously my trainer, but he's the head of Muay Thai Australia. I've had Ali McOney, I've had Matt Lucas, who are both, you know, they're both commentators, but both big presences in the Muay Thai scene.
You're going up and down, aren't you? You're going from the promoters, the heads, to fighters, to even trainers at some point, and, you know,
and each one of those people you can always take something new from. And, you know, I always learn something from everybody in the Muay Thai world. And I think that's what's special about this sport, is it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you can always learn something new. Whether it's from, you know, a technical standpoint, you know, like in the gym, or just something new about the industry, about how something works.
You've got to have that open mind, like, to learn. And I think it's funny because that's the same with Thailand as well. Like, you can't come here thinking that's how I train, that's how I want to do it, because they won't listen to it. Like, they've got their ways they've been doing for years, and they're not going to change them because you say that this works better. You've got to have an open mind to do that when you're coming to, not just in training in Thailand, when you're in Thailand. Like, it's a completely different world to where I'm from. Like, the town I'm from in England it's crazy how different it is. Obviously, I love it, and most people do when they come out here.
I think that's one of the biggest keys to survival here, is having an open mind, because, you know, even though I've been coming here, you know, I've lived here for 5 years now, 5-6 years, been coming here for a long time, mate, nearly 10 now. You know, I've got a Thai wife, I've got Thai friends. You know, people say I speak Thai, but I wouldn't say I really speak Thai.
No, but you're part of a community here now, do you know what I mean?
Part
like
of the
we
Thai
said
community.
when we come up here.
But there's always something new every day that you can learn about Thailand, whether it's history, geography, or even just about the culture. You know, every day, like, my wife's telling me something new that I'm doing wrong. You know, don't do that, that's rude. Oh, okay, sorry. You know, so it's, you know, you just got to have an open mind. And, you know, things don't run as smoothly as they do back home, but you got to be patient. You got to be, you got to be patient, and you got to be open and just go with the flow. And it's a hard thing for Westerners to do that, because we come from such a regimented society where everything's got to happen now. Thailand does not operate like that. You know? They're just thinking, they're not even thinking about tomorrow. They're just thinking about the next meal. So, you know,
it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I love it. I love the simple, like, the way they are so happy. Like, people with nothing, they're still so happy, you know? And it's just amazing. The people are just amazing.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome.
They're just such... I haven't had a bad experience here yet. I know it's not as long as you've been here or people have been here, but I haven't had a bad experience. And that's going around with my friends, travelling, drinking, and then training, living here. Like, all through that, I've never had a bad experience with Thai people.
To be fair, I haven't either.
Something like you can remember, like, and if I was to think about London, I've had a bad experience. New Year's Eve, going out in England on New Year's Eve. So many things back home.
To be fair, like, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with a Thai person. I've had plenty of bad experiences with other foreigners here. But I've never had a bad experience with a Thai person.
Even when they drink, like, they don't change.
No.
Like, the drinking culture in other countries, in England, people are just fighting. Like, they just get drunk, they fight, they cause trouble, smash things up. These guys are just, they drink more than anyone, like hardcore. Like, some Thais I've been out with are hardcore, and they just, it's just crazy. Like, you can learn so much from them.
The thing I like about the Thai night culture, especially, is it involves food, and I think food is a really important thing about any culture. It's about sharing a meal together, right?
Yeah.
And night culture in Thailand revolves around food and drinks and just having a good time with your friends, and often involves music. Now, whether that's at the real grassroots suburban level, you'll often just see 3 or 4 guys drinking around like a marble table in a park, or not a park, like maybe like downstairs, like my condo, like a little thing like that. They'll be sharing like Muay Tha, which is like hot pot, and just having a couple of beers. Maybe one guy might have a guitar, and they're not harming anyone, you know. And then you go out to a market and you'll see a big group of girls just out on a girls' night out, and they're just sharing food, eating somtam together, having a good time.
And they're so friendly.
Yeah, like, and boys' nights are the same. Boys will just go out to like a pub and they'll share food. It always revolves around food, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing I love. But
I love it too, mate. If I didn't have to make weight for fights, then
see, I'm lucky I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a really special place here. Yeah. But then again, that being said, it's not for everyone.
No.
You know, some people are good for holidays here, but some people are not made for living here.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like the idea of doing the sort of the John Wayne Parr thing, or, you know, what you're doing and moving over, or even Shabby, you know.
Yeah, he's a great example.
Shabby's a really good example, throwing everything in and then, you know, sleeping in a dorm with the Thais and that sort of thing. People like that sort of romantic idea of that, but, you know, the reality is it's hard.
It is not easy. It is hard work. Like, I struggle with it, but I managed to get through it because I've got, like I said, people around me and things like that. But I always feel for some of the young foreigners that are coming out here and they're struggling, and I think I can completely understand where they're coming from, you know, because it's hard work.
Well, I think financially financially it's hard. It's not an easy thing to, you know, throw everything, you know, throw all your eggs in one basket out here and, you know, sort of just rely on fighting as a sole income. You have to have some sort of passive income stream, or, you know, sponsorship from people.
Definitely.
You know, I would definitely recommend these days. It's a lot harder now than it was, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it was hard then, but, you know, definitely have some sort of income coming in, whether people are working remotely or, you know, whatever they're doing. You know, also within the laws of Thailand, okay, I'm just making sure it's a disclaimer. Make that clear. People work legally, make sure you have a work permit, all that sort of stuff, pay your taxes. You know, don't do anything dodgy out here, because this is not a place that you want to be stuck doing anything illegal. No. You know? What I was going to ask you is, if you were to fight anywhere else in the world, what would be your number one pick? What country do you think has the best Muay Thai scene that you would love to fight in, bar the UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we spoke about this before. Yeah. You know, you probably know who I'm going to say. Yeah. I think 5-round stuff again.
That's why I asked it.
5-round now. I'd love to fight in Australia. you know that.
Aussie.
Yeah, I think they've got a great scene over there. I think people know, like, but maybe not enough. I don't think they always get the recognition. But then saying that, they've got great shows, like, they put on really big shows, so they probably are getting good recognition. I don't know.
I think the problem. This is my thinking behind it. I think because the scene in Australia is so strong at the moment, fighters don't think they need to come to Thailand anymore, because the training is at such a high level in Australia.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got so many Thais over there. It's in close proximity. What fighters do now is they fly over here for a fight and go back home.
Yeah,
because it's sometimes it's cheaper than flying interstate in Australia.
That's crazy.
You know, like there's been a couple of Australian fighters on RWS in the last 6 months who have done fairly well.
Yeah.
But saying that, I would love to see more Australians come and do what Chad Collins did and what John Wayne
Look what
Parr
he's doing
did.
now. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? He is an absolute beast. Like, he is right up there, one of the best in the world now. I know he's kickboxing at the minute, but I didn't even know who he was until I was in last year in Thailand, and I see him on Instagram, and then I've started looking. Then I've seen that he's fought all these guys, like in the stadiums as well, like Pakorn, Sexan, like. He's an absolute beast.
If there was anybody who deserved a shot at the Raja title, it's that guy. I mean,
he really does. I know he's focusing on. He's fighting today, actually, isn't he? Yeah, I know he's focusing on the kickboxing, but I'd love to see him jump, either get that title shot, which he's very overdue, and he could easily work and win, like, and get back to it, you know.
Yeah.
Or on one. I think he'd be a really great addition to that bantamweight division.
Yeah, I think for him that would be towards the end of his career. I think probably. And now I haven't spoken to Chad in a long time, and I think in his mind he probably wants to pursue kickboxing, be at the top of the world at that, and then I would love to see him fighting in the stadiums here again.
Yeah.
I mean, like on like a Pet D show or something like that. That'd be sick. You know, because he was definitely one of the top fighters in, you know, sort of like 2016, 2017, 18, around that area, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be sick. But I would love to see like more young Aussies come in and do what he did. You know, he basically just moved over here with nothing to Tor Sancti Noy's gym and just stayed there and just did the hard yards there, you know. Like, that's the way, you know, I'd love to see more Australians do it. But then again, like, there's probably not much of a need to now because...
No, but you see the level, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's at now. That's because he put the hard yards in.
I mean, there's so many high-level Australian shows now, you know, like, I'm pretty sure everybody around the world knows Rebellion. I mean,
massive.
I mean, that's been around for, you know, 10 years now.
Yeah.
There's more and more shows coming up, you know, like all the ones in Queensland, like Nakia Wright's Muay Thai League. Eruption's always been a pretty big one. My friend's one, 1774, that was the one Warrapon and Max
yeah.
That's going to be a big one in the future.
Definitely, they're investing in that. Like, they're getting some really good fighters on there.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing. That promotion is one that's just going to have to take time.
Yeah.
And you know, you look at the legacy of a show like Rebellion, who's been around for 10 years, and I think they just had their Roots show, which is
that like a feeder show to the...
Yeah. So originally I think it was their amateur show, and now it's become like B-class pro feeder for Rebellion.
Yeah.
And they just did their 25th show.
Really?
Yeah, so what they used to do was they used to have Roots and Rebellion on the same day, and now they're just doing Roots as a separate show now.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean...
That just shows.
You know, it's got its own legacy now. 25 shows, that's massive for a promotion.
I think there can't be many other countries besides England, outside of Thailand, I mean, that are putting on this many top shows.
Top shows, yeah, I mean, France has got a pretty strong
France are good. They've got good Muay Thai.
But You don't
Is there enough shows? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't see it on social media. I know how good they are. I'm not disputing that, but I don't see there like these big shows. I only know one there, and that's Muay Thai Grand Prix France.
Right.
That's the only one I've seen.
Yeah, and I mean MTGP is a pretty global brand, but
they're everywhere.
You know, they're in each country. You know, and even like America. I mean, America's got huge sports funding. I mean, if Muay Thai could break into the North American market, it'd be huge.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're just not putting on any professional shows.
No, I see so much, like these shows in America from guys I have from America on Instagram, but none of them seem massive. Like,
no, they do a lot of amateur stuff.
Yeah.
But they just don't have pro shows. Now, I don't know whether that's to do with, like, state sports commissions. Because, you know, like, with America, right, it's similar, kind of similar to Australia, where we have states, and each state has their own government.
Okay.
So, to do a show in, say, like, Nevada, that sports commission has different rules that promoters have to jump through in comparison to somewhere like California.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like New South Wales in Australia, where we have, like, really top shows, are totally different to WA, where it might be a bit more relaxed.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that's one of the issues.
It's quite hard for promoters, then.
Yeah, I think it's hard to navigate. And also, I think because the UFC and MMA has such
it's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it has such a big stronghold on the world of combat sports there. Which, to be honest, like, I'm not slamming MMA, but personally I think it's boring because there's so much negative time in the fights. And when I'm talking about negative time, it means where fighters are not engaged.
Well, if you can fight 5 minutes for 5 rounds, that's a long time. Like,
Yeah,
I fought 3 minutes, and that gets, like, that's a long time. You know, I think it's possible you could do it, but you're never going to have the action that you have in the Muay Thai side of things. You
know, there was a promotion that tried to do that here. I can't remember if it was here or Cambodia. Can't even remember the name of the promotion.
5-5s?
No, it was a one round for 10 minutes. And it was in...
That would be
And it
insane.
wasn't in a ring. It was like a circle kind of thing. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was.
See, I think I'd do all right in that.
Yeah. It was
I'd fancy a bit of that.
one round for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was strange. I can't remember it.
Weird to watch, but
yeah, I can't remember.
Interesting, though.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was here or Cambodia. It was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And they had some good fighters on there, but it was
never stuck.
No, I mean that's the thing about the world of combat sports, man. Like, unless you get massive sponsorship, it's hard for promoters to make money.
Oh, definitely. I can only imagine.
I mean, you see so many TV promotions come in for like one season and then fold because they just it's hard to get the viewership. But you know, I mean, like, you just gotta. I think promoters have just gotta stick to it. You know, I think so many, like anything, when they don't see the instant dollar signs, kind of give in a little bit too easily. I mean, it's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to do it for the passion and not for the dollars.
That's it.
At the end of the day.
And that's a big difference between out here compared to the West. A lot of people are out to do each other over and either earn this money or put on the best show, whatever they want. But Thailand, you've got your 3, maybe 4 really big promoters in Bangkok, and not necessarily they all work together, but they've all got their shows, all like different stadiums.
But they even do cross promotions.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, you know, like,
they're not out to damage each other.
No. They're all friends.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, for name's sake, let's not name them.
Yeah.
But you know, we know that because our gym deals with one of the biggest promoters in Thailand.
Exactly.
He's actively, like, really good friends with one of the other big promoters. There's no jealousy. They're all working together.
Yeah. And they obviously love the sport.
And they love it. You know, that's the thing. They love the sport. Whilst it is a business, they're still doing shows at the grassroots level too.
Yeah.
You know, like you see one of the big promoters here does provincial shows.
Yeah, well, Xavi's fighting in Ubon, Ratchathani, however you say
Today,
it.
yeah.
And that's, I was telling you, it's in like the deepest bit of countryside ever. Like, that's pure, and they don't charge you to go to these shows.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of shows in these routes, like, you know, like the Royal Air Base one, you don't have to pay to get in there.
No, and that's the thing. They
Channel 7,
yeah,
you don't have to pay to get into.
they rely on sponsorship money.
Yeah.
And you know, that's kind of the whole business side of Muay Thai I don't really understand.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to delve into it too much because it's not something I can really speak on.
No.
I'm trying to understand it more.
Yeah.
But you know, it's an interesting one. Well, thank you for your time. If you like this episode, make sure you like, subscribe, share. You can check it out on YouTube, Spotify. Make sure that you check Alfie out on Instagram at Alfie Pearse, JD. And myself, Joe Comerford Muay Thai. Follow for more information on the world of Muay Thai if you want to see things that are happening here in Thailand, England, Australia. They're kind of the three main areas that I target with my content. So make sure you check it out. Chok Muay Chats episode 18, I think. Peace out.